What's up, Best Self Squad? Welcome to episode 95 of the Best Self Blueprint. We are inching our way towards episode 100. Be ready for that. Something pretty cool is going to go on. But before we get into the episode, I just want to bring up one stat. I was looking at the analytics for the past month on this channel, and it looks like 75%. So 3 out of 4 people who tune in are not currently subscribed. So if that is you, please, please, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps bring on bigger guests. It helps get the content in front of you sooner and just helps build the Best Self community. So if you are not currently subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you are subscribed and this podcast, this channel has been adding value to you, I please ask that you share this with somebody else and have them subscribe. We want to grow this community. We want to grow this platform and just get this message out of becoming the best version of who you can be and living an extraordinary life. So that is my one ask, but without further ado, episode 95. All right, let us get into it, shall we? So as you saw in the title, today I'm going to be jumping through the 7 pillars or 7 types of health. The reason I'm doing this is because for the past couple months, some of you may know that I've been doing this, some of you may not, but I've been doing free consultations for anybody interested. If you are interested, that is still an option. You're more than welcome. Check out the description or the links in the description. There will be a sign-up form available to you. Maybe you had no idea that was happening. If you're someone who is maybe a little intimidated by a private coaching session, that is why I'm doing this episode. This is what I cover. This is what I do. I help people optimize all areas of health by guiding them through behavior changes necessary to optimize the areas of health. So, what are the areas of health? I will tell you as soon as I go through this Mahatma Gandhi quote. It is health that is real wealth and not pieces of gold or silver. The reason I picked that quote today is because we live in a world where success is often determined by monetary abundance. But that makes me think of a story from another podcast. I cannot remember the guy's name, but he asked the question, how excited would you be if I offered you $1 million? And the other person in the room said, yeah, I'd be really excited. He said, well, what if I bumped it up? What if I offered you $10 million? The person was like, well, I'd go crazy. I might even cry tears of joy. I said, okay, what if I gave you that $10 million? You had to agree that in taking the $10 million, you would not wake up tomorrow. This would be your last day on earth. And the person just kind of shrugged it off and said, well, yeah, then obviously I wouldn't take it. And so the guy says, great. So we agree that waking up tomorrow morning is worth more than $10 million. The person said, yeah, I guess so. And he says, okay, so you were that excited when I offered you $10 million, but we're both agreeing that getting to wake up tomorrow is even better. The person said, yeah, I guess it is. He said, then why do you not wake up every morning more excited than if you had $10 million? And that's the quote or the story I want to relay. And maybe you would take the 10 million. I'm not going to say everyone agrees with that story, but I personally agree with it. I think getting to wake up tomorrow and live another beautiful day is worth far more than one day with an abundance of money. Why do I bring any of this up? I bring it up because in my pursuit of trying to figure out what this crazy thing called life is all about, over and over, I've been guided to the fact that health is the baseline piece for happiness, for fulfillment, for success, for abundance. And let's be honest, you can have a bunch of money in the bank. You can have the sports cars, the big house, the second house, the rental home or the vacation home. But if you get told you're sick and you get told that your life just got cut down to a very short, finite time period, you will not give a crap about any of that stuff. You'll only be thinking about optimizing the life that you have left. And yeah, we don't know. We don't know how much life we have left. That's one of the trippiest things about being a human being is we could live a long, fantastic life to the age of 187 with science advancing, or we may have another day or week left. But to me, the 7 types of health, the 7 pillars of health that I'm going to go through, when you have these and you're truly successful, fulfilled, and aligned in these 7 categories, that to me is the real wealth. And so I'll get into them. Don't worry, I'm not just going to ramble on without telling you, but I pose this question. So if health is wealth, according to Gandhi, what are the fundamentals to accumulating wealth in each area? And here are the areas: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, environmental, and financial. So those are the 7. Yes, financial is on there as I was just taking a steamy dump on monetary abundance. Don't get me wrong. If you do all of these, the first 6, and it's a matter of being broke or being rich, I think everyone would take rich. But to feel good, to look the way you want, feel the way you want, act the way you want, be surrounded by the environment you want, the people you want, to be able to do the things you want, it requires all of them. And so this is what I am so passionate about. This is what I've been doing free consultations with people on. And I'm just going to break down what I've been doing that I've seen success with in the areas that I see a lot of success with, the areas that I don't feel expertise and that I'm the person to talk with you about. There are resources I will recommend. I'll probably link them in the description, but here we go. So if you tuned into the last podcast episode, I was talking about this process that I went through that I'm calling shedding. In the shedding process, it's a matter of life starts to get stale, you start to stagnate, and it's this point at which it's time to level up. It's time to move to the next chapter of life and the next chapter of self. That's a very difficult thing for a lot of people because ego doesn't want to let go. Ego likes to feel safe. It likes to feel comfortable. And when your identity is wrapped up in the version of you that is holding you back from the next chapter, it's a very challenging process to choose to go through in order to shed the versions and aspects of yourself that have been holding you back. Now, part of what I did for myself, what I do for my clients, what I try to educate and inspire people to do in their own lives is really look at this list of 7 and think about what does being quote unquote wealthy look like in each of these areas. I'm going to go through my process and I want to preface it by saying, I understand that I am a 20-something single man. There are plenty of you out there who are married. You may have kids. You may have 3 jobs. You may have other circumstances that put you in a different bucket of implementation strategy than me when it comes to executing or even defining what success and fulfillment look like in these areas. But here we go. So starting with physical health, the fundamental aspects to accumulating wealth in your physical health is movement and exercise, nutrition, sleep, hydration, stress, supplementation. So I'm going to go through what I've been doing, what has been feeling good and working well for me, what I think the benefits of them are, and then we'll roll through. So starting with movement and exercise. I like to exercise 6 days a week. That is just me. I'm a very energetic person. I like to move. I worked as a personal trainer for how many years? I love it. And so I like to do it as much for the enjoyment of it as for the benefits of it. But my schedule for movement and fitness looks like this. About 4 or 5 days a week, I like to go for a morning walk, about 20, 30 minutes. And that's like first thing, wake up, shake the sleep off, and then put on my flip-flops, sweatpants, and sweatshirt and just go for a stroll. That has a lot of benefits. If you're in the self-development or health and fitness cult that I am in, you've heard from a lot of people the benefits of getting movement in early in the day, low intensity movement. Also, seeing the sun rise, that really helps with your circadian rhythm. It helps your body understand it is time to wake up. It is time to get the day going. There are so many benefits to getting outside and moving and being up as the sun rises. So that's the low intensity piece. Then 6 days a week, 5 or 6 days a week, I do strength training with resistance. So that's free weights, cables, machines. So I do one muscle group 1 day a week. So I'll do chest on Monday, back Tuesday, arms Wednesday, shoulders Thursday, legs Friday. And then that possible 6th day would be anything that feels like it's starting to fall behind. I'll do some exercises for that on day 6. But then at least 4 or 5 days a week, I'll do body weight, strength training, and core, usually together. So that's pull-ups, push-ups, squats or lunges, and then a wide variety of core exercises. A couple days a week, I'll train grip. A couple days a week, I'll do balance. Every day before I do a workout, I will do a good amount of mobility and flexibility stuff. At least once a week, I'm doing yoga. So there's a lot of stuff that I like to do for movement and exercise. And that's not even taking into account that I move quite a bit throughout the day, probably get about 12 to 18,000 steps a day, give or take. There are outliers, but I get a lot of movement, and that obviously helps. That's obviously not everyone's situation, but for me, my definition of success, of what will allow me to look the way I look, perform the way I want to perform, feel the way I want to feel, what does that require? And for me, that is what that requires. Also, again, I love doing it. So for me, allocating more time to fitness and movement is not a chore. It's something I like to do. Nutrition, just making sure, yeah, I'm not the coach who's going to say, if you like to have some beers on the weekend with friends, I'm not the coach that's going to try to make you cut alcohol out completely, cut out fun, celebratory foods completely. For me, the important thing is, do you get the nutrients you need? So the calories, the macronutrients, the micronutrients, and do you feel the way you want to feel? Do you look the way you want to look? Is your nutrition allowing you to get what you want out of your nutrition? Sleep. I have been increasingly good about this, going to bed and getting up relatively around the same time, making sure that I'm getting good quality sleep. So that means not shoveling in a bunch of food right before bed, making sure that I'm doing kind of like nighttime rituals. So usually when I am going to sleep, I'll do a quick little gratitude review in my head, and then I'll do a little bit of calming breath work to get me into parasympathetic, and that usually does the trick. All of these things, water, I have a gallon jug of water right off camera. Every day I try to get at least 100 ounces of water. That's me. That's what I do for physical health. I'm not saying you have to do all those things, but what I am saying is in doing those things, in getting enough protein, in getting enough water, in moving my body, in practicing the different modalities, in sleeping consistently with good quality, I feel the way I want to feel. I look the way I want to look, just except for my nice little tank top tan I got going on. I look the way I want to look, and I can perform at the level I want to perform at. Physical health, I mean, if you want to be someone who shows up with a lot of energy, this is required. If you want good health mentally and emotionally, every component of physical health activity, it benefits the others as well. Another one that I've been starting to get back into is cold immersion. It sucks. I recommend it, but it sucks. I do it in the shower, so I will keep it like not hot, but warm while I, clean off and all that. And then I turn it nice and cold, sometimes let out a little yip, but that has a lot of benefits. So all of the things, but that again, obviously, yes, I just rambled on for 5 minutes about what my practice looks like. But I'm telling you, that practice for me, it yields the results I want it to yield. Going into mental and emotional. So mental, these get conflated a lot. Mental is your overall mental well-being. So cognitive function, rational decision making, things like that. Emotional well-being, how emotionally stable are you? How good are you at not reacting but responding? How in tuned are you with your emotions? All of those things. But for these, you probably know what they are. Giving yourself time for solitude. So again, meditating, journaling, just sitting, not on your phone or playing video games or watching TV, just being with yourself. My practices for this, probably 3 to 5 days a week, I journal. Almost every single day I read. I like audio books. I like hard copy books, but almost every day I read. I've been writing, so not just journaling. So obviously, yes, journaling is writing, but creative writing. There's a project coming up, not in the near future, but I'm working on it. So writing, every once in a while, I like to do drawing or doodling just to get in the creative headspace. But doing things that free up mental and emotional gunk. So this could be breath work. This could be talking to a therapist. This could be going for a morning walk. This could be any number of things. But just thinking about how do you deload the stress that is on you mentally and emotionally. So if you are someone who's stressed out and you're constantly getting burnt out and you feel mental fog and you notice you're quick to get angry or sad or frustrated, really think about mentally and emotionally, what is your version of success? My version of success mentally and emotionally is not to always be happy. It's not to always be sharp as a tack. I understand there will be days if I go out with friends and have a couple drinks, I'm not going to then expect to just show up the next morning firing on all cylinders. There are ebbs and flows of life. So my personal definition of success with this is on days that I need to execute, I make sure that I'm getting the practices in that will allow me to clear my mental, clear my emotional plate and start stacking the mentality that I need, get the mental clarity that I need, prime emotionally so that I'm coming in proactively with the generated emotions that I want to experience in whatever situation while still being open to the experience, things like that. I won't go through all of them as in depth as I have the other ones, but I hope that this paints a picture in your head about how intentional you have to be when it comes to these things. And the other piece of it too is there will probably be different seasons where different pillars take precedent. Sometimes, if you're in a very emotionally charged chapter of life, maybe you're not going to be attending finance seminars and going and working with a private coach 3 days a week. Maybe your priority is going to be taking a bath and playing with your rubber ducky and going for long nature walks and journaling and understanding. I think there's kind of three tiers. So the top tier is what you're aiming for. That's like optimal. You're doing all the things you want to do. You feel exactly how you want to feel. You're at where you want to be at ideally. Below that is the tier of tolerability, we'll call it. And if you know me, you know I'm not a big fan of the word tolerable, but I think there's one line between I'm optimal and I'm good. There will be seasons of your life where your physique may dip a little bit, your finances may dip a little bit, your social groups may be ungrounded, your environment may be a little cluttered. But then the lowest tier is red line. That's intolerable. And so you need to think about, okay, what's like your, we'll call it fighting weight in all of these categories. So what's the ideal? What's the optimal? So again, for physical health, what's the ideal body fat percentage? What's the ideal 1 rep max of this exercise? What's the ideal meal plan? Okay, then if you're not doing that and you're in a period or a chapter of your life where this needs to maybe take a little bit of a back burner while you focus on growing, repairing, building a different area, what is the red line? What is the point at which you will no longer allow yourself to treat yourself with the disrespect that comes with falling that far below? So for me, I hit that point financially recently where I bet on myself on the studio. I was also doing that sales job, and I put myself in a situation where I hit my red line, where I had to get very honest and say, okay, working out right now is not the priority. Getting all my macros locked in every day is not the priority. I should still keep an eye on it. But right now, all of these other areas, whether they're ideal or tolerable, let's focus on making sure that we put those on autopilot for a bit and really pour resources into financial health so that I can get to financial wealth. And so understanding off of those 7 pillars, what's the pillar or pillars that you've been neglecting or the ones that stand out to you that you want to make changes for the better right now? And that's kind of the call to action today is if you want to do a consultation with me, I am very happy to do it. I love walking people through this process. I more talked about my own implementation and what that looks like in my life on this. But if you want to do a consultation, I'm happy to do that. If this is something that you want to do your own research on each area, you want to journal about it, however you go about it, my call to action is this. Write down all 7 areas, and I'll repeat them right now. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, environmental, social, financial. The 7 areas, the 7 pillars of health. Write each of them down. Write down what success looks like. So again, financially, how much money are you bringing in on a monthly basis? How much money are you saving, investing on a monthly basis? How much debt is tolerable? How much of your outgoing is tolerable? How much are you willing to spend in expenses? In terms of spiritual, if it's religious, this kind of ties into financial. How much are you giving to the church financially in terms of your time? How often are you praying? How close do you believe you are to God? So successful, fulfilling, how do you feel about where you're at and who you are as it pertains to those areas? And then just overall alignment. And with those three comes the fourth, abundance. When you reach success, you feel fulfilled, and you are aligned, you will experience a level of abundance that you have never even thought possible, or maybe you thought it was possible, but now you're actually experiencing it. Please, please, please go out and identify this for yourself. If you listen to that last podcast episode, which if you haven't, I've brought it up a couple times, so definitely go check that out. But that process of shedding, this is a core component of leveling up, is getting very clear on what you need to do to be who you want to be and experience what you want to experience in all 7 areas. Understanding there's room for grace when life happens and things dip a little bit, but be in the pursuit. Play the infinite game in all 7 areas. Play for the sake of continuing to play. So don't pick a physical ideal, go after it, and then once you hit it, go right back to where you were. If it's environmental, don't get your dream house, your dream car, get it to the point where it's pristine, and then ruin it. This is an infinite game. The 7 pillars that create the Parthenon that is health. We want this structure to stay solid, not just build it really fast and then it crumbles right back down. So that's all I got for you. The 7 pillars of health. Again, if you want to do a consultation, please reach out. I can do them in person at the studio if you are close, Heartland, Wisconsin, or I can do them virtually. I've done plenty of both of those options. So you can send me an email or you can fill out the form, whatever floats your boat. But I think I'll leave it at that. There are a lot of things going on with the studio right now. Frameworks is this month's workshop is so crazy. It's called the Viewmaster. If you don't know what the Viewmaster is, Google it. It's something that will be nostalgic probably. If you're around, that's June 29th, 10:30 to noon. Definitely partake in this one. We have the meditation. That's free. That'll be taught by Coach Kyle, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. on the 22nd. Tuesdays, every Tuesday at 8:30 to 9:30 a.m., 6 to 7 p.m. We've got yoga with Sherry Cope. Phenomenal. We have the sports club every Wednesday. We have the book club. That meeting will be on July 1st. I'll put the book in the description as well, or you can just go on social media and you'll see. But anything you want to get involved in, get involved. I want this to be a community of people who have a love for life, have a love for leveling up, enjoying the journey, meeting people who light you up and you can connect with and you can nerd out over all of this stuff. So join in. If you are not subscribed, subscribe. If you liked this video, click the like button. If you have questions, comments, concerns, throw them in the comments. And if you know someone who this will add value to, share it with them. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Episode 100 coming up. Be ready for that one. It's going to be epic to say the least. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace out.